Hello, I hope you all are doing well. We're going to be talking about the menstrual cycle and what your period can tell you about your fertility. This is such an important topic because I feel the more empowered that you are, the more you understand your body and all of the signs and signals that it's giving you, the better you're able to support yourself and your health and for your fertility journey, but for the rest of your lives, right? For your pregnancies, for your mothering, all of that. So the more we can learn to listen to our bodies and the different tools and things that we have, I think the better we're going to be. So for anyone who is just joining me, this is your first video. My name is Heather Rodriguez. I'm a natural fertility specialist. I'm an herbalist and nutritionist who specializes in reproductive health. And I help women who are preparing for pregnancy, overcoming fertility issues, and who just want to better their health before they become pregnant. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's topic. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Nice to see you all. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the period, but first we have to understand that what the period is it's built up over a period of time, over a month, and then that lining is shed at the beginning of the next cycle, and then that lining grows again. So during that period of time, there's a lot of different things that are happening in the body hormonally, and a lot of how your period shows up can show you some things about what's happening in your body when it pertains to hormones, nutritional status, circulation, those types of things. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So a normal period is going to be, and again, I'm going to probably use quotation marks a lot because what is normal, right? But a normal period is going to be anywhere between 21 to 35 days. Textbook is 28 days. A normal period, cycle length is that long. A normal period is 3 to 5 days, right? Again, normal. So this is, and it's bright red. There's no clots. It's an easy flow, not too much, not too little. That's going to be kind of what's considered like the normal textbook healthy period. No pain. There shouldn't be pain during the period, even though I know most of us have grown up thinking that that was perfectly normal because no one ever talked to us about it. One of the things I love about social media and the internet now is there's so many more conversations happening about things that when I was growing up, I had one class about my period, and that was it for the rest of my life until I became interested in all of this. But it wasn't something that was normally talked about. So crippling cramps and heavy periods and all these different things, flooding, all of that, no one knew if that was normal or not, right? Or how to get support on it. Okay, so let's jump into some of this kind of things that the body's going to be telling you. So the first is going to be the missing period. So if you don't have a period, what is this? What is your body telling you? So one missing period, a couple missing periods isn't necessarily something to be super worried about. But if it's something that's consistent, then this is a sign that there's something going on hormonally with your body. So if you are not pregnant, then there could be something happening, which could be some type of deficiency. There could be PCOS happening. There's a lot of different reasons someone might be missing a period. It's either hormones, nutritional deficiencies, stress, or some type of fertility issue. So if that's happening for you, that is something to further explore and to also, visit your doctor to see what might be possibly going on for you. If you are on birth control or you just got off of birth control, that's another reason there could be a missing period, and it might take some time for those hormones and everything to leave the body. Another type of period is going to be a short cycle. So this would be a very short cycle that might be like 2 days long. And this could be due to lack of ovulation, too short of a follicular or luteal phase. It could be nutritional based. There could be some deficiencies that are happening. It could also be low body weight or anemia. So there's a lot of different things that are happening there with a short cycle. Now, as I'm mentioning and listing off all these things, just know that none of this is like a diagnosis or anything like that. These are just things to consider because of the information that your body is providing you, right? So it's like a window into, it's like an iceberg, like your body's an iceberg. And these different signs are a window into what's happening or possibly happening in your body. Now we come to the longer period. So this is a period where it's longer than 5 days. You're like, what's going on? Why is my period so long? If you're heavy bleeding for longer than 3 to 5 days, you should definitely go see your gynecologist, go see your doctor just to make sure that everything is okay. Sometimes if there is a miscarriage or If you had a miscarriage and then a month later you start having really heavy bleeding, it may not have finished. So there are some reasons that if you have a lot of bleeding, you want to go check with your doctor. Also, longer periods can sometimes mean hormonal imbalances, like estrogen could be high, estrogen dominance, progesterone could be low. Those generally kind of work together. When there is that kind of situation, looking at trying to balance the hormones and protecting the body from excess estrogens is going to be beneficial. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. The next is going to be heavy menstruation. So this is going to be when there is a lot going on. You have a high flow, not one that's alarming, but you just tend to have heavy periods, right? So this is generally caused by progesterone, estrogen imbalance, or overstimulation of the uterine lining because of estrogen dominance. Again, you're going to hear that word so much because that's causing a lot of issues for a lot of people. So this is generally can be supported by helping to support the liver in its work of getting rid of excess hormones in the body. But most importantly, before you kind of try to address that, is to help to protect the body from xenohormones and xenoestrogens that are coming from chemicals in our everyday life, chemicals found in our home, all of that. Also helping, you can do this through the use of herbs and foods that are going to help with that as well. Another thing is nutritional deficiencies have also, like if you've been having heavy bleeding for a period of time, you also want to make sure that you are eating healthy and taking a multivitamin, because that can have you become anemic or also have other types of nutritional deficiencies. So there was a study that showed that vitamin C helped to reduce heavy bleeding, but that's kind of just helping like what's happening. It's not addressing the underlying issue of that. There are some different herbs and things that can help with heavy menstruation, but again, that's just going to help with the discomfort and all of that when you need to look at the underlying cause. Now we're going to kind of switch the spectrum and look at light menstruation with strong cramping. So light menstruation is when there's hardly, not bleeding very much. Your period is very light. It's kind of scanty. So that could be a sign of lack of circulation. So you're thinking, it's very light. It might be strawberry in color and I have lots of cramping. So the uterus is trying to get the lining to release, and there ends up being lots of cramping. This is kind of a two-way approach, would be to help to build up the system and eat, high in nutrient dense foods, but also helping to increase circulation and calm the uterus at the same time. Sometimes I find with cramps that this cycle starts to happen where the uterus is trying to get the lining to expel, and that's not happening. So cramps get stronger and stronger, and it ends up starting this whole cycle. Okay, dark brown or thick blood. So dark blood that looks brown or old, that's old blood. Old blood turns brown. That can be left over from a previous cycle. This may be a sluggish type of period. So this would show like lack of uterine tone. So the uterine muscles are lacking tone. There could be a lack of circulation. So that's where you'd want to help to bring in more circulation. So you would do things such as like self-fertility massage, castor oil packs, cleansing, things that can help, drinking more water, things that can help to bring more circulation to the reproductive system. Because if you're showing dark, thick, brown, old blood, then we want to get things moving. You want fresh blood coming. You want healthy circulation coming. You want the lymph moving. You want all of this moving. And that's kind of showing that things could use a little bit of a pick-me-up. Now, if you're experiencing pale, watery, or thin menstruation, this tends to signify poor blood quality. And I'm not saying your blood's bad or anything like that. It's more saying that you need to build up your body and the vitality of your body by increasing circulation, supporting hormone balancing, and building up your blood, making sure you're getting enough iron-rich foods in your diet and the counterparts to absorb them. You can eat all the iron-rich foods, but if you're not absorbing them because of vitamin C, or maybe you don't absorb plant iron very well, I actually found that out a couple of years ago. Needing to address that and making sure that you're able to absorb your iron. Now, spotting and bleeding between periods. This is kind of a whole side topic, but that can be Give me just a second. That's another sign of disturbance in the hormonal flow, the hormonal balance, the feedback loop. It could have been due to lack of ovulation, endometriosis, ovarian cysts. If you're on birth control, poor nutrition, there's all kinds of different things that could mean. But generally what I find with spotting is it's just a sign of some type of hormonal imbalance or shifting in your hormones. If you are taking steps to balance your hormones and you've started like a new protocol this last month with herbs or essential oils or whatever it is, sometimes you'll see spotting as well as new receptor sites are kind of waking up. So it's not always a bad thing. It's just if that's a regular thing for you, like any of these one-off, not really much to be concerned about. It's just if this is like your regular, if your regular is to be irregular, just becoming aware to that and that your body is giving you different signs of things. So now we're going to talk about having no period. So having no period, we talked about a little bit at the beginning, but there's a couple different reasons for this. One of them can be menopause. So there comes a point when a woman hits menopause and she will start having periods that are either further apart or they stop altogether. Another sign of no period is going to be stress. When we go through stressful times in our lives, our stress hormones can cause our other hormones to become out of balance and we stop menstruating. You also have to think our bodies are built, we have the same bodies that we had when we were cave people for the most part. And we have a lot of mechanisms built in for fight or flight, for survival. So if we're high stress, the last thing our body wants to be doing is reproducing. So that's kind of something that was built in that still can happen if we have high levels of stress consistently. Another can be, again, hormonal imbalances. So having excess estrogen happening, having low progesterone, having high testosterone, those kinds of things. Nutritional deficiencies can be another reason someone does not have a period. There's a lot of different nutrients that are connected to that. Go ahead and send me a message if you want those. I can send you some articles that have all the details on that. So again, this is just going to come down to supporting hormonal balance in whatever direction that you're needing, supporting liver health, because the liver has so much to do with our bodies handling excess of hormones, nutrition and hydration, as well as stress reduction and increasing circulation to the reproductive system. Now, you don't have to be a professional to decipher all of this. All of those actions are beneficial to your fertility anyways. So if you're seeing that you have any of this going on for you, adding some of these types of things are going to be beneficial, and you can see by the next cycle some type of shift. That's one of the cool things about it, is you're going to get that feedback on, okay, I'm trying A and B. Now let's see what next cycle is like. What has changed? Oh, my cramps aren't as bad. That's one of the biggest things that we hear about is change between cramps. PMS, which is something I'm going to talk about later this week. My PMS is lessened. You know, I don't want to rip off as many heads as usual. Or I wasn't as tired, or I wasn't as sluggish. There's my dog. I wasn't as sluggish this cycle. So that's something that's really neat that you can notice when you are taking on new health or lifestyle changes. Is you'll see a change in your cycle, possibly. That's one way to look up. Another way to look up, and this is a total side topic, is your skin. Your skin will reveal a lot to you as well. So I hope you found today's topic helpful. I'm going to be talking about period health and menstrual health and that part of the cycle all week long, because I think this is such an important topic, and it pertains to fertility in so many different ways because it is such a big part of your monthly cycle. So between this, what your period is sharing with you and showing you, and fertility charting, you're going to have so much information about your body and what's going on that you can use these tools for the rest of your life. Even once you're past your fertility journey, you've already become a mother, you are exhausted from your kids running around, this information is going to be helpful to you for so many different things. So I hope that you feel empowered and that this is something that you can at least lock away in your mind to once your period comes, to be like, hey, what's going on? What can I learn about my body today? So, all right. Well, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you again soon. I'm going to stay on here and answer some questions because I see you guys asked a ton of questions. All right. But I hope it wasn't too much information, but you know, you got to start the conversation somehow. Okay. So let's see. My period took almost 70 days. Yeah, so long, again, we were talking about before, long periods. That's definitely telling you something. Nice mug. Yes. She is serious. She's serious about her earrings. She's serious about her mugs. Right. Iron deficiency anemia caused you heavy ones. Interesting. I don't see any egg white during my ovulation. I don't know if I'm ovulating. So cervical mucus is definitely something that's such a good point to bring up. That cervical mucus is so important for the sperm to be able to travel. We could be ovulating, we could have all these other great things going on, but if we don't have enough cervical mucus, the sperm will not be able to travel to the egg. So that is another way to observe your cycle, different part of your cycle, but that's something to observe. So, and you don't know if you're ovulating. So fertility charting would be something that I would suggest you start learning about and looking into. What does heavy periods with clots mean? So that could mean hormonal deficiency, excess estrogen. That could mean lack of circulation. Those are kind of some of the main areas that I would look at if that was happening for me. Try OvuSense core thermometer for PCOS. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because for PCOS, it can be harder with the longer cycles, right? What about a perfect 30-day cycle, but a lot of pain every month? Yes. So that's actually what I used to experience, was textbook, but extreme cramping. So some of the things that you can do to help with menstrual cramps is to look at helping to reduce inflammation. This can be done through the use of herbs, essential oils, and diet. You can also look at, like, evening primrose oil is something that can be helpful, but helping with that inflammation and increasing circulation through the use of self-massage, castor oil packs, compresses, those types of things. And also hormonal balance in general can really help with that. Retroverted uterus, and I struggle with imbalanced hormones from time to time, not constant. So that's another thing to observe, right? Is this something that happens all the time, or is this like a one-off, right? Does pelvic congestion syndrome cause infertility? No, I wouldn't say it's a cause. I would say it's more of a, I don't want to say side effect, but it's something that's happening because of an underlying situation that's happening in the body. It's like one of the things on the list. What about a 2-day period with pain? So it depends on what your period is like, and if that is normal for you over time, or if that just started, Rachel. You'd have to kind of see if that's not normal for you and that's just very, very light, but you have lots of pain, then helping to build up the blood and increase circulation, as well as hormonal health. According to my doctor, the reason my painful cramps was because I had endometriosis. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Most women who have endometriosis experience a lot of cramping during their period. Light flow, scanty bleeding. Yeah. Thank you guys all for sharing. This is so interesting. Celeste has been had an absent period since March of this year and lack of nutrition last year. Hair loss as well. So see, you're listening to the signs of your body. There's other things, obviously, besides your period that your body's communicating to you. And hair loss is another one. After I had given birth, I had lost so much hair. I could not believe. I lost probably half of my hair. And because of all the nutrients just being sucked right out of me. Couldn't keep up with it. It eventually got better, but that's just another thing, like, right, hair loss. Stephanie says that's exactly what I was going to ask about. That's a fancy cup. Yes, Kelly. I'm going to have to show you guys my mug collection. It's bigger than my earring collection. Twin kitten. Oh, let's see. Sarah's saying, I finished my period 2 weeks ago. The following week I had PMS symptoms, but didn't think it was exactly that. However, I started again tonight. Oh, so interesting. So what could that mean, right? Yeah, so some hormonal stuff going on. Hot Tiger has not had a period since. Whoops, everything just hopped up. Period since August, September, October, November. Okay. What's been going on in your life? Has anything dramatically changed? Have you been spotting? If you haven't had your period in 3 or 4 months, I would definitely be wondering why, and possibly going to get some hormonal testing done. A big spiky crystal mug. Is that good for fertility? No, but it's good for my soul. Crystal's been diagnosed with PCOS and has had heavy, long periods for the last 2 months. So, yeah, so that could possibly be with the heavy, long period, maybe learning more about estrogen dominance and kind of looking at some of the other signs of that and seeing if that fits for you. And then that would be a direction that you could start and see how that would affect your next cycle. Marianne had a miscarriage in October. I am so sorry to hear about that. And when do I expect my period to start again? So after a miscarriage, it can take some time for a period to begin again. There are all of the pregnancy hormones that have to leave the body, and that is actually a very slow process. So it's been a month. For some, it can take a couple of months, especially for the cycle to become regular again. Some women, the next month, normal, everyone's just so different. What foods are liver healthy? So some of the best foods I like for the liver is actually not going to be food. It's going to be fiber. Fiber helps the body to get rid of the excess hormones. So it's helping the liver in that job. A lot of the things that are supportive of the liver, I go more towards herbs because they're specific for them. They're specific for the liver and helping to support its function. Claire found it helpful. Great. Only thing I know is I have a small fibroid and no real period and spotting almost every day. My period stops on day 3 and then resumes the next day. I don't know. I would look at more what the period is like if it's heavy, if it's light, and I would kind of go from there. My cycles have gotten shorter and erratic. Some cycles 20 days, others 24. So Natasha, if you're currently trying to conceive, you would definitely want to learn more about that, about your cycle. Maybe start charting to see if you're ovulating, because that's quite a short cycle. So if you're trying to conceive, you need a period of time after ovulation that's long enough for the egg to implant. So that sometimes can be an issue with really short cycles like that. This month I've had an extra early period, 24-day cycle. Normally it's longer. Yeah, Kiko. So, once in a while, an off cycle, really nothing to be alarmed about. It's just once that continues and becomes a new pattern. Wow, there's so many questions. You guys really liked this topic. That's awesome. What about random having periods every few months? So Missy, sometimes that can be, a couple different things, but that's something to do with some type of hormonal imbalance. A lot of women who are experiencing PCOS will have very sporadic periods. Like they'll have one every 3 months, every 2 months. So that could be something if you either fertility chart, which can be hard because it's so long between cycles, or just getting some testing done. It doesn't mean you have to go straight to fertility treatments or anything like that, but just learning where your body is. Does cold weather affect basal body temperature and circulation? It doesn't if you just consistently take your temperature every day at the same time. So if it's winter time, your temperature is going to be the same, or consistent every single day. Even if it's cold outside, it'll be consistent in relation. You are so welcome. I did fertility charting once and my temperatures were up and down all over the place. What does this mean? So first, you're going to need to fertility chart for multiple cycles because you're going to look for patterns. You can't just do it 1 month and get information from that and be like, here's what's going on. You have to actually compare it to previous and other months. Also, if you're not taking your temperature at the same time every day, first thing in the morning, before you get up, before you move around, your temperature will be all over the place as well. Can hormonal imbalances cause recurrent miscarriages? That can be one of the causes of recurrent miscarriages. Yes, there's a lot of different reasons. Thyroid imbalance, estrogen dominance causing low progesterone. There's a lot of different reasons for that. Sometimes there's other causes as well. It's not always hormonal, but that is on the list. How to increase cervical mucus naturally. We have a whole guide to this on the website at naturalfertilityinfo.com. Go there and search cervical mucus, and we have a whole guide on how to do that. My left tube is blocked. My right is open. Can I get pregnant? I get my period every month. So 2 things with this question. The first is you have a tube that's open. So that side, both sides will continue ovulating. But since that one tube is open, definite chance with that tube. Also, getting your period every month does not mean that you're ovulating. The period and ovulation don't correlate. It doesn't matter. Like if you have your period every month, it does not mean you're ovulating. And some women can ovulate and not have a period. Not common, but that can happen. What is my advice for women who have cancerous cells in their cervix? Asking for a friend. So Divine, I would talk with my doctor. I would talk with a naturopath if that was happening to me. I would build a team around me and talk to a lot of different people till I found the information that resonated with me. I would do tons and tons of research. That is not my area of expertise, but that's how I would go about something like that, is finding the smartest people I knew and asking lots of questions. I have endometriosis with painful ovulation and bloating. If we only have sex a few days before and day of, is that enough? Because it's painful, keep going. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. So endometriosis with painful ovulation and bloating. Okay, so yes. So if you are knowing exactly when you are ovulating, it would be best the 2 days before and the day before if you have like limited window because of the pain. Another approach to that is actually working towards helping to reduce the inflammation for the endometriosis and helping to reduce that pain. There's some other factors with the endometriosis you want to be aware of when you're trying to get pregnant and sustain a healthy pregnancy. A lot of the hormonal issues that are connected with endometriosis can affect your pregnancy. So working on endometriosis as well is going to be important, but knowing the 2 days before, because of the amount of time it takes sperm to travel. Any healing methods for newly self-diagnosed PCOS? My period has become irregular recently due to weight gain. Okay, Anita. So there's a couple different things. I'm putting together a checklist because I get so many questions about PCOS. This is such a common thing that women are going through. Just know that the way that we approach it naturally is we are helping the body to handle and deal with PCOS. We're not trying to cure it. We're trying to support the body so it can go on to have healthy hormones and healthy pregnancy despite it. And there have been a lot of women who have been able to do that. So one of the first places is to go on to, you're on YouTube right now, to go to my YouTube channel. And I have 3 different videos on PCOS, insulin resistance, top foods, and the diet, because that's going to be the main way to manage it. It's going to be a day-by-day management. And then once you have that going, then there are herbs and supplements and things you can do to help to support your body, to help support normal hormonal health. But it has to be in conjunction with the diet, because the diet is how you're going to work with your insulin resistance. I don't see the egg white during ovulation. Ella, this is, again, someone else asked this question. It is a major sign of ovulation. It's not a definite sign that you have ovulated, and lack of it isn't a definite sign that you have not, but is something that is needed. So if you are not getting egg white, cervical mucus around ovulation, definitely look into that. That's something that's pretty simply remedied, because the sperm is going to need that to travel. Shanti, can I take Vitex during my period? Vitex is best used all month long, regularly, like just continuously all month long. Okay, Red Pepper. So Red Pepper is saying my periods are regular and I have always had signs of ovulation, but I suffer from painful periods and frequent UTIs. I've noticed some slight changes when I change my diet. Okay, so if that was happening to me, look into reducing acidic foods and red meat consumption and processed foods. So, with the UTI and the painful periods, reducing inflammation in the body would be a direction to really look at. A simple way to do that is to eat as many whole foods and unprocessed foods as you can, lots of fruits and veggies, lots of salads. You can eat all the other foods, just increasing those anti-inflammatory foods, and trying to not eat the processed foods and the sugar added foods and those types of things, and seeing how it goes for you that next cycle. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found today's topic helpful. I will see you all again tomorrow. Have a good one.